welcome to an edition of Rob Carson's What in the World. My name, of course, is Rob Carson. It's my show. What do we do here? Well, we look at the madness, the news cycle, what's going on, and obviously this one has been a very strange one. For me, I've got a daughter and a son now who are home from school for the entire year. My daughter's freshman year in high school is over. My son's sophomore year at college is over, essentially. He'll be doing some online classes. But we do live in strange times, and we do have to kind of calm down just a little bit. The President of the United States has come out as, I think a pretty darn good leader here. And why has he done this? Well, it's because he is a business leader, and in business, you have to succeed. If you fail, it's over. In government, you can fail in perpetuity. Here is a message from our president this week.
I want to thank all Americans for pulling together, for coming together, for doing what they have to do. It's been incredible. It's been inspirational. All over the world they're watching, but all over the world they also have problems. It's in over 120 countries. It's called the invisible enemy, and that's what it is. It's an invisible enemy. But we're doing tremendous work. The truckers, the doctors, the nurses, everybody, they're just doing tremendously.
Let's not forget people who work at Walmart, Target, grocery stores, things like that. Not fun to be there.
And of course, you've heard it 1,000 times. Wash your hands, good hygiene, all of that. But social distancing, keep away. It's going to have no place to go. And I just want to thank you. As president, I want to thank you for the incredible job you're all doing. There's spirit in our country like never before. We've pulled together as a unit. We pulled together as...
And social distancing is very easy for me because I don't have any friends. Kind of sad. My wife is working at home, too. This is day one, by the way. We'll see how long this goes well. Mm-hmm. Here's the president talking about how this disease should be called the Chinese virus. Why? Because it started in China.
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus. We'll be invoking the Defense Production Act just in case we need it. In other words, I think you all know what it is, and it can do a lot of good things if we need it, and we will have it all completed, signing it in just a little while, right after I'm finished with this conference. I'll be signing it. It's prepared to go. Contagious virus.
Do you consider America to be on a wartime footing in terms of fighting this virus?
I do. I actually do. I'm looking at it that way because, if it got out of control, the big thing we did was a very early stoppage of people coming in who could be very, very heavily infected. That was a very good move, and it was very early, very, very early.
Now, coming up in a few, we're going to talk to you about the latest state to close its borders. But to put things in perspective, and I've been sharing this with some of my friends in talk radio nationally, how I am refusing to give into the panic. I have to go to work every day. This is an interesting new study. About 3,500 people have died in Italy. It ran over Italy, and it's tragic and sad and horrible. 99% of the patients killed by the coronavirus in Italy had existing conditions. This is according to a new study. Okay? This is research into 355 of these deaths. Only 0.8% had no other illnesses. In Italy, 48.5% of the people who have died had 3+ other illnesses. This could be hypertension, this could be heart disease, could be lung disease, a variety of different things. Repressed immunity, 25% had 2 or other illnesses, 25% had 1 other illness. Only 0.8% had another illness. Now, again, this does not take away from the tragedy of death. I get it. But are we really freaking out too much about this? Now, back up just a second. Because the flu has already killed 16,000 people in the United States alone this year. All right? There are a lot of people who have been impacted by the flu. Why hasn't that been a part of the conversation? Because it happens every year. All right? This virus, the fatality rate is about the same, maybe a little bit higher than flu. I'm trying to figure out why the mania. Why, when I go to the grocery store up the street, I can't get toilet paper. I went to Walmart the other morning at 6:30 in the morning because I can't sleep because I have no life. It was packed. I couldn't get hand wipes. I couldn't get hand sanitizer. The store shelves were stripped. It's unbelievable, and it's unnecessary. There's a piece by an MIT professor that I read and shared, actually, Shiva Ayandura, a candidate for U.S. Senate from Massachusetts. He warned on Twitter that the crisis is being manipulated, okay? He said, basically, this will go down in history as one of the biggest frauds to manipulate economies, suppress dissent, and push mandated medicine ever. He said that on March the 9th. Stanford professor just produced a piece. His name is P.A. Loanitis, co-director of the university's Meta Research Innovation Center and professor of medicine, biomedical data science, statistics, and epidemiology and population health. I hope that doesn't go on his business card. He suggests that because the response to the coronavirus is a fiasco in the making, because we are making seismic decisions based on utterly unreliable data. The data we do have indicates that we are likely severely overreacting. And I'm going to have to agree with that. My part-time job, I work outside of my home, and I deal with customers. And the funny thing is, the young people are saying, we're not going to come out, we're not going to buy right now. But the older people are still coming out. The older people don't have a problem with this. That said, with all of the crisis, with all of the people staying home, with all of the businesses being closed, the media has decided to focus on one thing, and that is the fact that Donald Trump likes to call this the Chinese virus. Why does he call it the Chinese virus? Well, let me just let a reporter ask the question and have him answer it for him.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. Comes from China. I want to be accurate.
About Chinese
Yeah, please, John.
Please. The aides behind you. Are you
I have
comfortable with this term?
I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so it's not a cultural slam. It's where the virus came from. And China tried to pin it on the United States. Sort of like somebody blaming the person they gave an STD to. Thank you very much, China. And I love the fact that this president is giving China what for, like no other president. Now, I've had a debate with my son. My son is a 20-year-old. He is in college. And, of course, because he's in college, he leans left of center, despite my very best efforts leaning left of center. He claims to say that his Chinese and Asian friends are being attacked over this. I doubt that very, very seriously. Why is it that the left always projects the worst on America? Elizabeth Warren, she is out of the race, not because she's a terrible candidate, not because she doesn't relate very well, not because she lied about her heritage, but because she's a woman. Now we're saying that we can't call the Chinese virus because Americans will beat up Chinese people.
Do you consider the term Chinese food racist because it's food that originates in China or it has Chinese?
No, I don't think it's
and
racist.
On that note,
I don't think it's racist at all.
on that note, major left-wing news media, even in this room, have teamed up with Chinese.
Now, this is interesting. This is Chanel Rion of One American News Network. And she is acknowledging that the media has decided to call Trump a racist because Trump is actually winning again.
Communist Party narratives, and they're claiming you are racist for making these claims about Chinese virus. Is it alarming that major media players just to oppose you are consistently siding with foreign state propaganda, Islamic radicals, and Latin gangs and cartels, and they work right here at the White House with direct access to you and your team?
It amazes me when I read the things that I read. It amazes me when I read the Wall Street Journal, which is always so negative. It amazes me when I read.
There you go. So finally, a media member who actually is, well, let's face it, basically everyone in that room, in the press briefing, has a political leaning. She's probably the only person who leans to the right. And she's also probably the only person who leans to the truth. All right? And she has received a great deal of criticism from other media anonymously because they don't have any spines. I think it was a brave moment. I think she said that what most people in America are saying. Who gives a damn what we call it? And if it came from China and China tried to blame the United States for it, then why in the hell do we care about calling it the Chinese virus? No one cares. The thing that people care about most is having groceries, having a freaking job. Doesn't matter what the disease is called. Now, the president went further in this briefing this week when a reporter talked about what the politicians, what his staff is doing to maintain social distancing. And, of course, he gave them a little bit what for.
Now being tested positive for, members of Congress are now being tested positive for coronavirus, and you have almost 24 who are self-quarantining. Do you have any guidance for Congress? Should they?
I know all of them, and I don't know if they're sitting like you people are sitting. You're actually sitting too close. We should probably get rid of about the 75, 80% of you. I have just 2 or 3 that I like in this room. I think that's a great way of doing it. We just figured a new way of doing it, but you're actually much too close.
I love that. I love that this president, who is doing his level best, who closed the border with China after finding out about the virus, preventing probably thousands of illnesses. Then he closed the border from Europe. Now think about this real quick. Okay, so you've got China, you've got the U.S., you've got Europe. China was the hotbed of the virus. Donald Trump closed the border. Europe didn't. Europe became the hotbed. We closed the other border. Now we are experiencing a rise in cases. Yes, we are. And one of the reasons being because we're able to diagnose it. Because a few months ago, we had no idea what this thing was. I think we've made some amazing, amazing progress in Wuhan, China, and who knows if they're telling the truth. But apparently, the number of cases has leveled off and actually stopped being diagnosed. Nobody's being diagnosed with it. Do we believe that? They haven't been enormously truthful, but I do believe that there are parts of the world where this virus hit hard and is beginning to ebb. Are we through the worst of it? No, I doubt it. Am I going to freak out about it? No, I'm not going to. Here's Simone Biles on Fox News talking about Trump being a racist and how important it is to not call a virus made in China the Chinese virus.
It's easy to
that's Richard Engel.
scapegoat people, and that is what has always happened when there have been pandemics or epidemics, that foreigners are attacked. Foreigners sometimes physically attacked, if you look at what happened.
Yes, Richard Engel, actually. I apologize. Simone Biles is coming up in a second. Here's Richard Engel talking about the xenophobia that this president is causing.
During the Middle Ages, there was lots and lots of scapegoating.
Okay, wait a minute. Did he just actually quote the Middle Ages?
In the Middle Ages, there was lots and lots of scapegoating against an ethnic group or a religious group.
Which one are those, sir?
Whenever there were...
I believe that was 800 years ago?
Pandemics that affected the society and frightened a lot of people. And China certainly feels that is what is happening now, with people calling it the Wuhan flu or the Wuhan virus or the China virus. This is a virus that came from the territory of China, but came from bats. This is a bat virus, not a China virus. It doesn't speak Chinese. It doesn't target Chinese people.
Yes, but Chinese people eat bats for some odd reason. Yeah, I can't figure that one either. Here is Simone Sanders on Fox News calling the president a racist.
A leader has to lead from the front. And so what President Trump came out and some of what he announced today was, it's a tough job, but it has to be done. And some of what he said today was good. But the reality is he also stood at the podium and called the coronavirus COVID-19 what I would suggest is a racial slur. It's something that is offensive to many Chinese Americans.
To call it a Chinese virus when it originated in China, why is that a problem?
That is offensive. It is something that is offensive to many Americans. And so the reality is instead...
No, I don't think so. Not so many Americans. I think many media figures, I think media people who really, really, really hate Donald Trump, and that, of course, includes the entire political left, Hollywood, the mainstream media, etc. Most Americans are not offended at all. They're more concerned about getting toilet paper, thank you very much, Here is Meghan McCain on The View, or as I like to call it, the Harpies from Hell show, defending the president.
I think part of the problem is in December, there were a bunch of Chinese doctors that were sounding the alarm on this virus, and the Chinese government, or lack of the government, was trying to suppress them, and they were trying to give out warnings. I actually have a friend whose brother was in China, and the lack of information, they don't have access to social media. I agree with you that I think if the left wants to focus on PC labeling this virus, it is a great way to get Trump reelected.
Thank you very much, and it will. Thank you very much. Even some major media haters of Trump are beginning to realize he's actually a really powerful and effective leader in this crisis.
I mean, look, this is just coming back to where this conversation started after the press conference. I hear what Sanjay is saying about Tony Fauci giving, a little bit more wiggle room than others. But if you look at the big picture, this was remarkable from the President of the United States. This is a nonpartisan, this is an important thing to note and to applaud from an American standpoint, from a human standpoint.
Unbelievable. CNN actually conceded that Trump is doing a good job. That's not all. Even the insufferable Joe Scarborough agrees the president is being presidential.
This press conference was going on. I got phone calls from several people saying, "Who is that man?" At the press conference, the president.
What did they hear?
The president was sober. He did what a president's supposed to do. He delivered the bad news. There are a couple things that were just.
By the way, Mika and Joe, actually, this is in their house. Okay, so literally they're like sitting 2 feet from each other, and that's a green screen like is behind me.
I found remarkable.
I really don't have a giant American flag flying behind me.
Talking about how
it's a green screen.
Probably going to go into a recession. Well, yeah, we are, and Americans already know that. The 10 people limit went further than most people in the administration were talking about going, but limiting gatherings to 10 people. Don't go to restaurants. Don't go to bars. Don't go out.
Do you know why the media is backing the president? Because the president is winning. Because the American people know it. I believe that this whole idiotic chorus about calling this the Chinese virus will fade very quickly. It already has begun to fade. Now, one reporter, Weijia Zhang, who is a reporter for CBS, said that somebody called the coronavirus the Kung flu. Now, it just so happens that she is of Chinese descent, I guess. And it's odd that one person in the White House would come to the Chinese person and call it the Kung flu. Here's a little bit, one PBS reporter asking the president about this alleged racial slur.
The question is, there are at least one White House official who used the term Kung flu, referring to the fact that this virus started in China. Is that acceptable? Is it wrong? Are you worried that having this virus be talked about as a Chinese virus, that might...
I wonder who said that. You know who said that?
I'm not sure the person's name, but would you...
I'm not sure the person's name, but somebody said it. They totally did.
Condemn the fact
say the term again.
A person at the White House used the term Kung flu.
I love the fact that the president got her to say it again.
My question is, do you think that's wrong? Kung flu.
Who they are. But hold on.
And here's Kellyanne Conway being asked by the same reporter.
You can't just say that and not name them. Tell us who it was. Come up here and tell us who it was. I'd like to know, because I'll go inside.
Right, what is your message to those staff?
No, I'd like to know.
Rather than having
Excuse me, that's been alleged. No, Yamiche, excuse me.
So is that wrong?
Yamiche, I'm not dealing in hypotheticals. Of course it's wrong. But you can't just make an accusation and not tell us who it is. Who is it? Come and tell us.
I heard somebody said it, and I don't know who said it, but they said it. So go ahead and respond.
If you want to argue, I'm going to argue about standing away from each other and washing our hands and everything.
But just
tell us who it is.
You're telling those staff.
Of all the things that the American people have to worry about right now, that would be exactly the last. The last. Okay, Governor of California, the first governor to actually shut off California from the rest of the world, which is something the rest of us have been praying for years.
A state as large as ours, a nation state, is many parts, but at the end of the day, we're one body. There's a mutuality and there's a recognition of our interdependence that requires of this moment.
Wow, that sounded very mutuality and what?
That we direct a statewide.
How about you just say, people are getting kind of sick, so you got to stay away from each other.
Order for people to stay at home. That directive goes into force and effect this evening, and we are confident that the people of the state of California will abide by it. They'll do the right thing. They'll meet this moment. They'll step up, as they have.
Now, could you do us a big favor and also get to work on actually separating California from the rest of the country and letting it float off into the Pacific Ocean? One other thing that was kind of funny this week, and I want to share this: celebrities getting together. Celebrities got together. Gal Gadot, I don't even know who the hell Gal Gadot is. She got together with a bunch of her celebrity pals in their mansions where they're being sequestered. Well, they don't have to worry about toilet paper because they actually pay people to wipe their own rear ends. Here they are singing Imagine by John Lennon to comfort the plebes. That's you and me.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky.
Imagine all the
Wow, this is actually pretty bad.
people
Living for today. Yeah. Imagine there's no countries. Yeah.
Imagine this video is going away because I can't take it anymore. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. If you would please continue to watch Newsmax television through this crisis. It is a remarkable endeavor. It is providing an alternative to you and me, and I hope that I am an alternative to others as well, bringing you not only the headlines, some thoughts about it, but maybe even a laugh or two. In the meantime, be safe. We're going to get through this. This is not the pandemic that everybody is saying it is. Trust me on that. Thanks for joining me. You can write me personally, carsonontheradio@gmail.com. You can get in touch with me on Facebook at Rob Carson Show, and on Twitter, you can find me at Rob Carson. In the meantime, God bless, and we will see you again very soon.